What's up, y'all? My name is Joseph Williams. I'm with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, also the director of Students Deserve. We are in the Center for Black Power. This building is owned by Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. This building is a building that is a home for community organizing, that is a home for power building, that is a home for resourcing our folks in different ways. And it's also a site of reclaiming and of abolition. So folks know that we're in Leimert Park, also known as Africa Town. Absolutely, Leimert was a white supremacist developer. And this space and this community is a historically black community that is being gentrified and that black folks are being pushed out of actively. And us getting this space was reclaiming it from an Israeli arms dealer who sold arms to the LAPD, and now we use it as a place for black power building. So it was a space of harm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're very grateful for y'all being in the space today. Want to let folks know bathrooms are upstairs to the back in the hallway on the back. There are some places that say, please do not enter. Please do not enter. Thank you very much. And also, respect each other, respect the space. This is a space of black power building. And this is a space of revolutionary love. And this is a space of courageous discipline. So we're gonna be talking about some things today. We're hopefully gonna be holding some folks accountable today. And we wanna also do that in a heart and spirit of love for our people, and respecting and honoring this space. So we appreciate everybody being here and wanted y'all to know where you are at the Center for Black Power.
And my name is Baba Akili, and I too am a member of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and on the core team of Black Lives Matter. And I'm going to share with you our community agreements, because in this building, we do some things, and we do them because it is our practice, because we have learned that if we get agreements, start with libation, that it always makes things go better and turn out better. So these are our community agreements. And Joseph usually does them, and he does them so good that I said, Joseph, let me do it this time. He said, okay, but only once. So here we go. Here's our community agreements. Security as a priority. We want to make sure everybody in here is safe. And we have security here, but we want to make sure everybody in here is safe. And so we make security a priority. And we want to make sure that we feel safe in this community, in this where we are. Treat each other in here the way we don't get treated out there. Out there we are victimized, we are distrusted. In here, we are together. We are sisters and brothers. Treat each other in here like we are not treated out there. We want to move forward and move back. Some of us are accustomed to talking. And matter of fact, we spend our lives. Let me just say this one more thing. Well, that's great, but some of us are a little quiet. And so we're going to ask those of you who are accustomed to stepping up, maybe to step back and let some of us who don't always jump up and talk. Y'all with me? Here we go. So that's the move forward and move back. And then finally, we call people in here. We don't call them out. We turn this into sacred space. So we call people in. We don't call out. And then finally, and this one is underlined, because this one I think is critical. This one says, throw glitter, not shade. It's easy to throw shade. As a matter of fact, some of us wake up in the morning and go, and we throw in shade. We want you to start, and as long as you in here, throw glitter on each other. We can always find things to disagree with, and they are legitimate and valid, but it doesn't have to be disrespectful. It doesn't have to be unsupported, and it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. So we ask you to throw glitter, not shade. And I'm going to ask, as an elder, as a brother, as a friend, for y'all to accept these agreements. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the elders in this room to join me. I'm going to ask them first. Would the elders accept these community agreements? Yes. Look at y'all. Like, am I an elder or not? Let me see. Well, look here. I know I'm an elder because I'm 76 years old. Y'all know what that means? 3/4 of a century. So I'm asking the elders for your acceptance first. All right? Now I'm going to ask the rest of you, as your elder, as a brother, and as a friend, to accept these community agreements. So will you accept them? Yes. Thank you all very much. Chris, let's go.
Peace, peace, peace. So, first thing I'm gonna do is ask you to repeat after me, okay? Reparations. Now. Reparations. Now. Reparations.
I apologize. We don't let just people just show up here. We introduce folks. How dare I? I know y'all thinking, see, that oldness is getting to him. So let me introduce to y'all from CJAC all the way from Sacramento. Would you welcome my brother Chris? Now, Chris.
Thank you. Yes. So y'all gonna realize though. So I don't sound like I'm from Sacramento though, right? I'm actually from New York originally. I was born and raised in Manhattan and Brooklyn, so I've been out here in California for almost 10 years. So right on, please, thank you. And last time, one more time, reparations. Now. So this is how we're gonna do it, family. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you some basic background, just a quick progress report to catch you up on where we are. We never wanna assume that everybody has the same kind of knowledge, the same kind of education about California reparations. But in the next 5 or so minutes, I'm gonna catch you up and I'm gonna give you 5-10 minutes if there's any specific questions about anything that you heard me say, anything that I cannot answer, I'm gonna say I can't answer, and I'm gonna ask you to go to our website and follow up with us for more information and we will get you the answer, okay? And just a quick rundown of who we are though, CJEC, Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. In 2019 and 2020, we had the honor, the privilege, really the blessing of being a part of the creation and the writing of the bill that created the California Reparations Task Force. So in 2019 and 2020, we worked with then Assembly member, now of course, Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber, to help write the final version of the bill that became the law to create the California Reparations Task Force. We are California's first, only, and still statewide leading grassroots, all volunteer, all American freedmen, born and bred organization specifically built for reparations and reparative justice. That's all we do. That's why we're here. So, how many of y'all was here a few weeks ago when the emergency town hall? Okay, y'all saw the video, yeah. Oh, that was fun. So, some of y'all have some knowledge about what's been going on. I'm gonna start from where we are and then sort of work a little bit backwards just to catch you up on what's been going on overall. So this year, 2024, when this year started, January, there was something like 18 different bills introduced at the state level based on one or more of the California Reparations Task Force recommendations. That task force worked for 2 years from 2021 to 2023 to do 3 things. First, document the harm, specifically of slavery in California and the things that came after slavery. Hold up. I thought there was no slavery in California. Right? Wrong. Right. There was slavery here in the state of California. Document the harms of slavery and the things that came after slavery. Job number 2 of that task force, educate the public. And the task force, to accomplish that work, did public hearings, did community meetings, worked with organizations like ourselves to help bring knowledge to the people, as we say. We were one of the 7 community organizations that worked with the state task force to do that kind of work. They asked us to do like 1 or 2 community meetings. We ended up doing about 20 different community meetings across the state and have since been doing them since then too. I want to pause right here for a second. I said I wasn't going to put her on the spot, but I'm going to ask our sister Camilla Moore to stand up right now, chair of the California Reparations Task Force, who's here in the building with us right now. I ain't gonna ask you to say nothing, but I just want you to stand up and be recognized. Job number three, make reparations recommendations. Tell the state who should be eligible, for what, how much, when, how, etc. And the task force did that work in a 1,100-page report that has something like 100 or so plus different things that this task force said the state should do. 18 or so of those things made their way into one or more bills this year in January. Of those 18, 12 of those 18 made it to the governor's desk. 3 of the 18 were voluntarily withdrawn by the authors of the bills themselves. 2 of those bills were blocked. 1 of those bills got to the governor's desk and then was vetoed. And tonight and tomorrow and next week and the week after that and the week after that, we are going to make sure that the people in Los Angeles, the people where I'm up at in Sacramento, the people across California never forget what happened this year, and make sure that we do way better and get what we need to get done next year, okay? That's part of why we're here today. So, I want to talk quickly about the 2 or 3 bill, or the 2 bills that got blocked, just to give folks some background there, and about the bill that got vetoed. Senate Bill 1403, SB, Senate Bill 1403 was a bill that was introduced by Senator Stephen Bradford, who we invited here today. Hopefully he is able to make it. Senate Bill 1403, this bill would have created a state agency to help implement reparations. But why do we even want that? Why do we even need that? So every other group that got reparations that we know of, that we looked at, has some kind of systems, some kind of institutions set up to do those things. You need a place to go to apply. You need a place to go to help you show that you're eligible. You need a place to go to get your claims, your payments, and your checks processed. Senate Bill 1403 would have created that system. Senate Bill 1331, this is a bill that would have created a fund in the state treasury to help fund reparations. You can't do reparations without funding, and we have a saying in our work, if it don't have compensation, it ain't reparations. If it don't have direct compensation in it somewhere, it's not reparations. Finally, Senate Bill 1050. This is a bill that would have returned property to folks who had their property taken unjustly by the state of California, or compensated the rightful owners of that property at the fair market value of that property. So cut them a check for the value of that property. That bill got to Governor Gavin Newsom's desk, and then he vetoed that bill. Governor Newsom vetoed that bill the day after he signed the apology bill. And the apology bill, as well as bills to say that the state has a responsibility to support the rights of people whose ancestors were enslaved in this country, a bill to say that grocery stores have to tell you when they're closing in your neighborhood, a bill to say that the prisons have to list what books they ban before they ban them, a bill that says that you can wear your hair the way you want to wear your hair at the job more often. Those were some of the bills that they called reparations that got to the governor's desk that got signed. Okay? So, many of y'all saw, I know a lot of folks in this room was there too, a lot of folks at the Capitol very highly upset at what happened, especially for those 2 bills that got blocked and the 1 bill that got vetoed. I want to say this to y'all though. As I tell our team, it ain't over until we win. It ain't over until we win. And in less than 90 days, we're gonna be right back up at the Capitol, right back at it. We're not giving up, and it ain't over until we win. So I'm gonna stop right there because I don't wanna go too crazy with it. But I wanna just open it up real quick right now. I can take maybe 1 or 2 questions. Are there any questions about anything you just heard? Any questions? Thank you, brother. Okay. Looks like I did a okay job. Okay, all right. Okay, so if there are questions though, there are info cards at the back. Please use that. We got QR codes on that info cards. Please go to the website, sign up for our newsletter. We put out a regular monthly newsletter about California reparations. We send out text message updates. We have a volunteer list. We're asking folks to sign up to become volunteers. We got some of our volunteers in the house right now. Please put your hands together for the folks who volunteered their time, their energy, everything to be here. So at this point in time, I do want to turn it back over to the BLM family because I want to give the BLM family some space to talk about, and I'm gonna look at the agenda so I can read it properly. Alternatives to policing, the BLM voter guide, the Stop Cop City movement, and Project BSAP. Jan, is that you? Oh. Come on, sis, there we go. Oh. Okay, so give us a second. We're gonna hear from some of the BLM family about some of the important political work going on right here in the LA area, and then we're gonna get to the candidates because we got a bunch of candidates here who are here to talk about how they're gonna pledge to support reparations.
Right now, some flyers are being passed around. They look a little something like this. And so we know that an election is coming up on November 5th, and we know that we need to engage in all of the tools in our tool belt, right? And voting is one of those, right? It's not the end. We have 364 days of work to do that lead up to it and that follow it, right? Because we cannot just vote. That is not the only way that we are never gonna be able to vote our way to liberation, right? But we know that it is one way we can engage in this country and one way that we can engage in this process. But we also know that we have to hold our elected officials accountable, right? We know that CLBC screwed us and didn't do what they should have done, right? And so we need to hold them accountable. But we need to hold every single elected official accountable. And that means not only just making sure that they do or do not get out of office, but staying in these streets, right? So we have to vote and organize. Can y'all say that with me? Vote and organize. One more time, vote and organize. That's right. So what was passed around to you is Black the Ballot, right? So we have a few things that we really quickly want to talk about. You can also scan this QR code and it has our full voter guide on it. But so a few things is that in the city of Los Angeles, we have what is called Measure A. So if you live here in Los Angeles, we want y'all to vote yes on Measure A. What this does is it creates additional housing, and it also creates additional funding for mental health services. This is incredibly important for all of our folks, for Black folks in particular, so please make sure that you vote yes on Measure A. Also, we want y'all to vote yes on Proposition 6, which is at the state level, and what this does is it makes it so that indentured servitude and slavery is not legal at all, because currently it's legal for a form of punishment, right? So that means our folks who are incarcerated, who are in jails, they can be given slave labor and they can be paid slave wages, and we are saying that that's not okay, so we need y'all to vote yes on 6. So we're voting yes on 6 and yes on A. Also, Prop 36 is at the state level. We want to make sure that we also are voting no on Prop 36. What Prop 36 does is it rolls back Prop 47, which made certain felonies misdemeanors. We want to make sure that does not happen. We want to make sure that the money that was put back in the state by virtue of not criminalizing our folks stays there, right? We want to make sure that that money actually goes to help people, so we need y'all to vote no on Prop 36, all right? And then we know that the DA is up for re-election. Vote no on Hochman. That's all we're gonna say. We need to make sure that we vote no on Hochman. And then also we know that in CD 14, Kevin De Leon is up for re-election, and we need to vote no on Kevin De Leon. Y'all hear that? That's right. So one more time, yes on A. Yes on 6. Yes on 6. No on 36. No on 36. No on Hochman. And no on KDL. That's right, and we're doing community walks against KDL every Sunday, so if y'all want to join us, please join us, because we need to stay in these streets, right? So, another thing that we wanted to talk to y'all about is that we are doing real work to create alternatives to policing. We don't just talk about it, we be about it. There is a piece of, there's a motion moving forward at in City Council, and what this motion would do is it would move cops out of traffic stops. And that's right, because we know that folks like Keenan Anderson were killed in a traffic stop. We know that this does not need to happen. We know that this is a deadly encounter for so many of our folks. So we need to make sure that we remove cops from traffic stops and that we actually institute things that actually keep us safe, right? We know that Brother Bruce was killed at Ted Watkins Park. We know that him being a victim of a hit and run, having cops in the neighborhood was not gonna save him. But you know what would save him was a built environment and self-enforcing road infrastructure that actually would have kept him and all those babies that play at the park. That's what we actually need. That's what actually keeps our people safe, right? So we need things like raised crosswalks. We need to also have traffic signals in our neighborhoods and not with red light cameras, right? We're not talking about surveillance. We're talking about things that actually keep our people safe. We need crisis response, right? So that way when Keenan Anderson was asking for help, he got real help, not cops who showed up and tased him to death, right? So this is what we need. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we're doing. And so this is some of the work that we're continuing to move forward. And so that motion is going to be coming up soon on the City Council agenda, and we'd love for y'all to join us in that fight. And that's all I've got, and I think I'm passing it over to Joseph, right?
What's up, y'all? So quickly, I already introduced myself. So quickly, how many of y'all saw earlier this week the LA Times front page about the Black Student Achievement Plan, about what's happening with Black students in LAUSD? Yeah, so long story short, for those who did not raise their hands, a couple years ago in 2020, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, Students Deserve, and some of our partners won a $25 million divestment from the school police department and the creation of, for the first time ever, a Black Student Achievement Plan, which brings positive resources specifically for Black students. That brings resources like psychiatric social workers, restorative justice teachers, African American studies and ethnic studies. We won the removal of cops from campus and the creation of a school climate advocate to help keep campuses safe without criminalizing young people and pushing young people into the school to prison pipeline, and targeted positive resources for Black students for the first time ever in a district that has historically disproportionately targeted Black students with all types of negative, right? Suspensions, arrests, expulsions, push out, lowest graduation rates, lowest college readiness rates. Black students are at the bottom or at the worst in all of these indicators. And for the first time ever in LAUSD's history, for the past few years, they have been targeting positive resources to Black students at schools with the most Black students in LAUSD. This summer, after a complaint by a white supremacist organization from Virginia, the district LAUSD decided that they were gonna remove race as a factor in targeting resources through the Black Student Achievement Plan. So it's still called the Black Student Achievement Plan. Doc getting in here with me. It's still called the Black Student Achievement Plan, but they have removed race as a factor for how they select schools as BSAP schools, how they target resources that are supposed to be Black Student Achievement Plan resources, and open it up to everybody. Obviously, I don't have to ask in a room full of folks who are here for reparations whether we think that's okay, right? We know that colorblind policies do not help Black people. We know that colorblind policies will not impact Black students in the way that targeted resources that they deserve will. So we are fighting to put the Black back in BSAP, and we're gonna be at the school board this Tuesday, October 22nd at 3 p.m. To hit up the school board, right? The school board and the superintendent have the power to say, nah, we're not gonna remove race. Right? We're gonna continue targeting resources towards Black students because we have a legal right to do so, right? They have a legal right and standing because they have caused harm to Black students, right? And so they do, even with Prop 209, even with the banning of affirmative action, public institutions still have a right to target resources to specific groups if they have harmed those specific groups. And we know that LAUSD has directly harmed Black students for decades. Right? And this is a small part, right? A small part of some of the changes that we know Black students deserve, in addition to these checks, right? To cutting the check. We need to fight for also the institutional changes that are going to impact our people, especially our babies. So we're asking folks to join us this Tuesday, October 22nd at 3 p.m. At LAUSD headquarters, 333 South Beaudry. And even if you can't make it, we want everybody who can to make it. There is also a petition that not only lets you sign a petition and say you want the school board to put the black back in BSAP, but also lets you send an email. It sends an email for you to the school board so that they hear directly from you, directly from our folks about what we want for our babies. Do you know what that bit.ly is? Say it again. Oh, there's a QR code on the wall. Please do sign that and sign that petition and tell the school board that you want to put the black back in BSAP and join us on Tuesday at 3 p.m. at 333 South Beaudry. Y'all with me? Yeah. All right.
It's a full day of that. Anybody here remember my name? Thank you so much. All right. What Joseph just finished talking about is a part of a whole day of action. Anybody in here heard of Cop City? Well, that's one city has grown into a nation. There are over 86 cities around the country that are coming together to fund these regional, what they call regional training centers. What they are the militarization of the police on a national level. And so October 22nd, since 1996, has been called a National Day of Action to stop police brutality, and we're connecting it to stopping Cop Nation. So for the whole day of October 22nd, which is a Tuesday, we are going to be taking some form of action. The first action that we are taking is that we're going to the police headquarters and call them out, because this is about stopping police brutality, and they have been the perpetrators of it. We're crossing the street and we're going to City Council to register our opposition to the new police chief, Jim O'Donnell. We want to say now we don't want him. Thank you so much. And when we finish, McDonald, did I say? O'Donnell. It's McDonald, like the hamburger, like the farm. That only has pigs on it. It's Jim McDonald. So we want to register our opposition to the proposed police chief. And many of you know that for the last 193 Wednesdays, we have protested police associations every Wednesday. Except this Wednesday, we're going to change it to Tuesday. And we're going to take the streets, as we always do, at 1313 West 8th Street as a part of our calling out police associations, because they protect killer cops, pilfer the public purse, and they protect killer cops by supporting things like qualified immunity. And they intimidate elected officials. And so we've been holding a protest against them every Wednesday for 193 Wednesdays. This Tuesday, we will continue that, and then we're going on to the school board to support our children and to make sure that we put black back in the Black Student Achievement Plan. So it's a full day of action. Starts at 9 at the police. We're going to City Council. We're going to demonstrate against the police associations, and then we're going to end supporting our children at LAUSD. So please come and join us. As a matter of fact, you should just call in right now. Say, I ain't gonna be able to make it on Tuesday. Matter of fact, we should turn Tuesday into a national holiday. It's a day of action. So, October 22nd, full day of action. Come out and join us. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Brother Baba. Yes, sir. So we want, actually, yes, but we want you to hold your questions for the candidates that are coming up, if you wouldn't mind, because we want to focus on the candidates. That's what we want to get to right now, because I know that's what y'all are here for, to hear from some of these candidates who are asking for your vote. And I'm gonna ask my sister Nita to join me up here, if you don't mind, because we have given every single candidate, by the way, we have sent an invite to join us today to every single member of the California Legislative Black Caucus, and also folks who are running for local office here in the LA area to join us here today. So I want you to know, first, we sent an invite to everybody, okay? Not everybody is here right now, and that should say something to you also. But we have sent an invite to every single member of the CLBC Legislative Black Caucus, and we've asked local candidates for office to also be here with us today as well, to first tell you why they want your vote and how they're going to earn your vote, and secondly, to pledge to you in your face while you're here that they are going to support reparations efforts at the local, county, state, federal, wherever level they get elected to. That's what we've asked every candidate to do here. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna ask our sister Nita to give us a review of the pledge that we're asking each candidate to take. Every single candidate has a copy of it. We're not gonna read the whole pledge. It's a 2-page pledge. There are copies of it in the back there for you to take with you as well, and it'll be up on our website, www.cjec-official.org in the morning. But there are copies of it for you here right now. So Nita, I'm gonna ask you to give us the big part of the pledge here, go through the bullet points just so we can review them, and then we're gonna ask some candidates to come up, talk about their candidacy. We're gonna take some questions from you all, and then we're gonna ask the candidate the last question, which is gonna be, will you take the reparations pledge? One last thing I'll say, what is the purpose of this pledge? Why are we doing this? Why do we care? I heard the word accountability. What else? Why else? Receipts, okay. So power, okay. Power, okay. Restorative justice, okay. Clarity, transparency. All of those are correct. Part of the reason why we're asking for candidates, demanding of our candidates to take this pledge is for everything that everybody just said. But there's some other pieces to it too. Coming to you right now, brother. The first is, or the other thing is, power. Okay? We as a people must get used to demanding things in exchange for our support. Okay? We can't any longer give people our support without getting nothing in return. That ain't work, that ain't working, and that will never work. So part of what this is about is helping us get used to the idea of demanding things in exchange for our vote. So Nita, I'm gonna ask you just to give us the start of the pledge. Again, we got some copies in the back also, and then go through the bullet points, and then we're gonna get right to the candidates and right to your questions.
Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, I'm with CJ, organizer with CJ, and I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm glad you're here. Pledge of support for reparations legislation for Black Americans in California. We, the undersigned, current, and aspiring elected officials at the local, county, and state levels recognize the enduring harm caused by slavery and its lasting impact on Black Americans who descend from persons enslaved and emancipated in the United States. We acknowledge the generational wealth gap, systemic injustices, and continued economic, political, and social oppression that persists as a result of slavery and its lasting legacy. With this pledge, we commit to advancing, supporting, and enacting reparations legislation at both the state and local levels to ensure justice, restitution, and healing for Black Americans who have been harmed by the legacy of slavery. Specifically, we pledge to support and advocate for the following: direct monetary payments, return of stolen land and property, state fund for reparations and reparative justice, community-driven state agency, additional benefits and resources, collaborating with grassroots advocates and constituents, bold and impactful legislation. By signing this pledge, we affirm our dedication to righting the wrongs of the past and building a more just, equitable, and prosperous future for Black Americans in California. Chris?
Please put your hands together for Nita real quick. And also, she's also with, she didn't mention it, the National Volunteer Council on Freedmen Affairs. Thank you very much, Nita. So, we have, by the way, we have, as my colleague just told me, we have candidates for, say that again? So we have candidates at 4 levels of government here right now. So let's say that one more time because it went one ear and it got stuck right here. Hold on.
All right. So hi, my name is Truth Bay. I'm actually policy analyst for Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. And so today we have a variety of candidates from different sectors. We have LA City Council Representative District 10, Grace Yu. Yes, you can give her a round of applause. We do have Cascio, 55th State Assembly for California. And we have Mr. Stephen Williams, who's running for the 43rd District of Congress. Maxine Waters District, y'all. And last but not least, we have our Honorable Vice President candidate, Dr. Melina Abdullah for Justice for All Party. And we got
Brother, where's the brother running for school board? LAUSD. Hold on. Say your name, brother, come on.
My name is Kahllid Al-Alim. I am running for LAUSD Board District 1, replacing Dr. McKenna.
Thank you, brother. Okay. So we're going to start with Vice Presidential candidate Abdullah, if you wouldn't mind joining us up here at the stage, and then we're going to go right to Grace, Keith, family, and then we're going to open it up to some other folks too who may or may not be coming in. Shirley, please do have a seat if you wouldn't mind. So, peace, brother, peace. I see you back there. So, I'm going to sit with you here for a moment, Dr. Abdullah. If you wouldn't mind telling the family, telling the people, and if you want to stand up too, that's fine. I just asked to sit down, but if you want to stand up, that's totally fine also. Take a couple of minutes, tell the family, tell the people here why they should support you in the presidential election, yourself and Dr. Cornel West.
Sure, so I am gonna stand up. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. So I'm here as a candidate tonight. I'm not here as co-founder of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. I'm not here as co-founder of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. I'm not here as a member of the core team of Black Lives Matter because I'm here as a candidate. But I want to give you that background. I want you to know that I am a lifelong believer and fighter for reparations, the kind of real reparations that comes with a check, not no damn apology. Keep your damn apology unless you give me my money, right? I'm running for Vice President of the United States completely unexpectedly. I'm an organizer, I'm a mama, I'm an educator, and that's who I thought I would always be, and I am those things. But Dr. Cornel West is somebody who changed my life because when I was in undergrad at Howard University, I read the book Race Matters. How many of y'all read Race Matters? That's a life-changing text, yes? Yes. So it was life-changing for me. I think I was 19 or so when I read that book. And when Dr. West decided he was gonna run for President of the United States, there was no one more enthusiastic about his candidacy than me. And so I was ready to just get behind him. And then one day, and I'll share the story quickly, after I interviewed him on the radio show that I host on KBLA, he called me. And I thought he was calling to debrief the interview. But instead he called with his wife on the phone and they said, "Will you be my running mate?" So, me, somebody who said I would never, ever, ever run for office because I like to cuss out elected officials, right? I said, this one is different though, because this is not just the smartest man in the world, not just one who writes brilliantly, speaks brilliantly, but I have marched with Cornel West. We were with Cornel West in the streets in Ferguson, right? We were with Cornel West as he was fighting to keep ethnic studies and make ethnic studies a requirement here in California. And so if I get to spend some months with him lifting up what we believe in, lifting up what we know to be true, lifting up that we know that if we don't have reparations, we'll never get to equity in California. If I have the opportunity to do that, then I'm going to do that. And so that's what I've spent the last 7 months doing in addition to teaching and raising my children. And we got 17 days left, and it makes me want to sing a Prince song, right? We got 17 days left. And this is our opportunity. I did check in with my organizing family. What do you all think about it? This run is about uplifting a collective agenda that has reparations at the center and also includes all the other things that we talked about, right? That includes BSAP. And I wanted to, the reason I was yelling back, oh, that's not Joseph. The reason I was yelling back when Joseph was talking about putting the B back in BSAP is because I'm also a mother of 3 LAUSD children, one of whom had the police called in on her, 8 times in a single semester. And when they won the defunding of school police and BSAP, it changed my daughter's life. That daughter is now a freshman at Southern University. A freshman at Southern University because of the Black Student Achievement Plan. So this work that we're doing when we talk about policies, when we talk about yes on 6, right? If you saw the film 13th, you know what we're talking about, right? That we have to abolish slavery regardless. I don't care if you're in prison, you don't get to be enslaved. They don't get to enslave you, right? When we talk about no on 36, it's because we know that when we bring our folks home, that it helps to make our communities whole. This is about real impacts on real people, and that's why we are really running for President of the United States and Vice President of the United States. And that's why we want your vote. And I asked Brother Chris, who we've been really, really fortunate to be in community with over this last several months, because CJEC has been doing the good fight. They've been doing the on-the-ground work in Sacramento. Sister Camilla's been doing work for the last 2.5 years, and we're grateful that this fight for reparations has brought all of us together so that we can harness our power as Black people. Black power. We can harness our power and win some real victories for our folks. And I mean real victories, not the victories that make you feel good because you see Black faces in high places. Ruha Benjamin reminded us Black faces in high places will not save us. They will not save us. We're talking about making sure that we have power that uplifts our whole community, and the primary people, the people that we are beholden to, is our community, is our people, not the Democratic Party, not your funders, not your own ego and ambitions for higher office. Who you are loyal to is your people and your God, and that's why we're running, and that's why we want your vote. And you can vote for us in the state of California. It's a write-in ballot. Oh, you got these for me, Sheila? It's a write-in campaign, but we're gonna do the work that's necessary to invest in disrupting this duopoly. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are evil and eviler, right? And we are gonna say we want more for our people. We're gonna do more for our people, and that's why we're running, and that's why I asked Brother Chris, can I be the very first one to sign this pledge for real reparations in the state of California?
Thank you, sister. Don't go away yet. Don't go away yet. Sister, first of all, thank you. Thank you. Just real talk, thank you. Family, we could take 2, maybe 3 questions for Dr. Melina. Okay, Lori, let me get the mic to you, because the mic team and the, okay, so we're going to Lori, we're going to sister here, and then we can take 1 more question for, then we got family in the back. Lori, sis, family. Lori, yeah, thank you. Please say your name and all that too, and who you're with. Happy birthday.
Do that. Thank you. My name is Lori. I am the co-chair of Lineage Equity and Advancement Project, otherwise known as LEAP. I am a co-founder of CJEC, and respect to Dr. Abdullah. One of the things that I was kind of wondering in the reparations space, we have come to realize that in order for us to actually have a viable path to winning any type of policy, legislative, law, and things like that, that if we use language like black in those types of situations, that they're going to be immediately challenged, and we're seeing that. We know that Edward Bloom is on a mission to dismantle anything that has the word black associated with it. So I was wondering, in your campaign, in Dr. West, do you guys see the viability of perhaps changing the language to include like the lineage or status type of language? Because if otherwise all of the effort that's put into school and education and all of these different venues and different domains that we want to make change, they're just going to be challenged and they're going to be struck down because we're using racial language.
So that's not going to be our only challenge, right? They're not only going to challenge us because we use the word black, right? They're going to challenge us because they don't want to pay reparations. And so it's important that we understand that. That said, I do understand legal strategies. I know one of the co-sponsors for tonight is Afro-Descendant Nation. And their argument is if you bring it to the international courts, then you can be recognized as Afro-descendants and establish yourself as a separate nation. They have their argument. You have people wanting to call themselves foundational Black Americans. I was looking at the pledge, and I don't ever call myself American. I call myself an African in America or a Black person in America, right? So I think
the legal status of freedmen that the United States gave to emancipation.
So part of my family's last name is actually Freeman. So I understand what you're saying, and I also understand that we're not the ones. Dr. West is brilliant. I think he's the smartest man in the world, for real. Like I'm not gassing him up by saying that, right? And we also know that there are people who are legal scholars who have different strategies that we don't have to be in the front of, that we can follow. And so what we're committed to doing is saying what makes the most sense and following someone else's lead sometimes. We don't have to have every single answer to every single thing. CJEC's been in the front of this fight in California. We are prepared to follow CJEC's lead in California, and we're prepared to make sure that we invest in that. I'll say this and then I'll pass the mic because I know we're short on time. I'll say this, that it's also really important that we take an expansive view of reparations that starts with a check but doesn't end with a check, right? So in my view, an apology is not reparations. But as Joseph was talking about institutions like education, we have to have our check, but we also have to transform institutions so they don't continue to bring harm to our people. And so that means that we want a check plus. I got on my run me my reparation shirt. We gonna take a twinsies picture at the end, me and Jan and Brother Billion, right? Yeah, it's cash based first. But it's not cash-based only. It's the system can't keep, if you think about it like a race, reparations is we're all starting from the same line. And if they keep tripping you along the way, then that's a problem too. And so we're gonna pick up those obstacles along the way as well and understand that that's an expansive view of reparations that requires both a check first and the end of institutional barriers to our progress as well.
Thank you for that, sis. Don't go nowhere yet. If people still want to talk to you, sister, yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Dee. I'm just here for myself. On this write-in, is it just for the state of California, or can you be written in across the U.S.?
Better than that, we are printed on the ballot in 16 states, including the state my daughter's in school in Louisiana. We are printed on the ballot. In Alaska, we're on the ballot. Tomorrow I'll be in Denver. We're printed on the ballot in Denver. So 16 states we are printed on the ballot, including Georgia, even though they're trying to get us off. They're trying to say, even though they're printed on the ballot, don't vote for them. That's crazy. That shows you that the Democrats are not, they are eviler, right? They're evil and eviler, right? Republicans and Democrats are both evil, right? So we're printed on the ballot in 16 states, and then in 26 additional states, they're write-ins. So there's only about 4 states where you don't have an option to vote for us because they don't have write-ins. So Hawaii, you can't vote for us. What are some other ones? Nevada, they can't vote for us.
Is there any way, because I know that's not on here, I think that would be helpful. So I know we can go to the website.
Yeah, the website.
Some of the old voters, may not be happy.
So at CornellWest2024.com, there's a tab that says ballot access that has it all printed. But if you follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram, which is the one I'm best at. I tried to join TikTok, but I'm too old for it, right? But on Instagram, I'm at @MellyMel, and it has the states listed where you can write in, the ones that are already printed on the ballot, and then what to do if there's no option for us. And so that'll guide you. But please, I'm glad that you asked the question, because we don't have the money to take out political ads. We don't have the money to pay people to walk the streets. What we have is people power. What we have is folks like Sister Nikita and Corey, and if you're a volunteer for the Cornell West campaign, stand up. So what we have is a people-powered movement. All these brilliant, beautiful people are walking the streets and saying, vote for Cornell West. We need you to do, I said, as long as it's legal and righteous, do it. So tell all of your friends, tell everybody you know you're voting for Cornell West for president, and they should too.
Thank you, fam. We got one more from family, and then we're going to get to our next candidate. Yes, sir.
All right, right on. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. I'm Samuel N with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, as well as the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice. I'm with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. So I really appreciate your perspective on reparations. Understanding that reparations should be a revolutionary demand. I think the Caribbean community put out a report that $100 and something trillion are owed, and the response by the capitalists are, well, that will collapse the economy. Well, if it will collapse your economy to give us what we're owed, then what does that say? But as you also know, Dr. West has spoken out in support of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru three reparations activists, revolutionaries, but who have been fighting for reparations for over 50 years, who have been unjustly charged by the United States government. They beat one charge, but then we see an unjust conviction on another. Just want to know if there's anything you want to say about that, or just the way through which, at the same time, these Democrats who say that they're for X, Y, and Z, the stuff people like us have been pushing for decades, they co-opt it while also attacking us, the Uhuru 3, but also we see this, the attack on Africa Stream and, Dr. Gerald Horne and so many other things taking place. Just wanted to see some of your thoughts on that.
Sure, so now I'm gonna put another hat on. So not just me and Dr. West as a campaign, but our entire movement is behind the Uhuru 3, right? And I'm gonna now put my professor hat on, right? That we have to remember that when we fight for things like reparations, when we fight for transformational change to public safety, when we say, free them all, when we do that work, the full weight of the state will come at you. The full weight of the state will come at you. And that's what we see happening with the Uhuru 3 case. That's what we see with the still political prisoner, Jamil Al-Amin. That's what we see with the attack on people like Brittany Martin, who I don't know if you all know her name, but she was a Black Lives Matter activist in South Carolina who's still in prison for leading a march in Sumter, South Carolina in the name of George Floyd, Black mama of 6 who was forced to give birth to her last child, Blessing, in prison, right? And they still have not released her. When you are a revolutionary, you have to remember that you are fighting to overturn oppressive systems. That oppressive system is gonna come at you. And so the only thing that we can do, if we're gonna be true to what we say we believe in, if we're gonna be true to our God and our people and our future generations, is say that they are not going to stand by themselves, that we'll fight for them, that will do the necessary work to overturn the unjust systems that dared to lock them up and charge them in the first place. So we stand with the Uhuru 3. You have seen Dr. West out there. We stand with every single political prisoner. We stand with, and I just want to uplift her name. I don't know if you know this beautiful, brilliant Black mama professor, Tiffany Willoughby Herard. Tiffany Willoughby Herard, who you all saw, standing with her students. She was literally kneeling and praying before her students who were demanding a free Palestine when the police in Irvine beat her black and blue and then arrested her. Now that DA has the nerve to charge her with a crime. And so these are the things we have to be aware of, and we have to be fighting alongside our people. The last thing I'll say before I pass the mic is I know many of us say reparations over everything. But reparations over everything doesn't mean reparations instead of everything. So beware of those who will say, yeah, I'm for reparations, and at the same time they are for also militarized policing that are snatching our people out of our communities. Beware of folks who say, yeah, I'm gonna give you a check. It's probably gonna be a little one, right? But we're gonna create conditions in schools that victimize our children. Beware of the people who will come and try to, play us for a fool and say, I'm gonna give you a $5 check or a $5,000 check or a $50,000 check, but that's all you get, and I'm gonna continue to decimate your community and exploit your workers, exploit your labor. So be very, very careful. We're much smarter and more strategic than that. And I want you to look at the plan that Dr. West and I have out. I want you to look at what we call our policy pillars and understand we mean, yes, reparations, and we also mean healthcare justice for Black mother survival rates, ending Black mother mortality. We mean reparations, and we also mean an end to militarized policing. We mean reparations, and we also mean a free Palestine. Want to know how to pay reparations? Stop funding the damn Pentagon to the tune of trillions, those trillions you just mentioned. If we stop giving them trillions of dollars, if we stop bailing out banks, you know how much they gave the banks? $29 trillion. That could have paid our damn reparations. Right? And so beware of those who say, we gonna give you reparations. I wanna tell a story because I'm 52 now, so when you get a little older, you tell a lot of stories. But after this, I'll tell you a story of how Donald Trump called me, or had somebody call me in 2016 and said they wanted me to meet with him. It's in Omarosa's book, right? She called me and asked to meet with him because he wants to give you reparations. I said, oh, that's fine. If he's elected, he should just pay us reparations. He don't need to meet with me to do it, right? And so we got to beware of those who think that we're stupid and we're going to go along with them as they decimate our communities. Make no mistake, there are evil people who think that we're stupid. We are not stupid. We're righteous. We're going to fight for what we need, which is reparations, but we also demand a completely free, liberated, and just world. Ashe.
And give me the mic back after that. Give me the mic back after that. So, and the last question was, will you sign the reparations pledge?
Yeah, but I want Billion to take a picture.
So, Vice Presidential candidate Abdullah is signing the pledge right now. Please put your hands together for Vice Presidential candidate Abdullah who's signing the pledge on behalf of the Cornell West campaign. There we go. There we go. Powerful. And shout out to the brother Billion and the Africa Town Coalition. Big love. Okay. Who's next on the list? Where's my team at? Oh. Yeah, come up here, please. Please, come. You know I need help up here. I know I be needing help. Come on, family. So, what's up? Okay. So I'm getting word from two different angles. So first, next up, we're gonna have.
So the next person on the list is Keith. Keith Cascio. Yes, State Assembly. He's running for State Assembly in District 55.
Come on up, Keith. Keith Cascio run up for D5, and they asked Keith if you wouldn't mind coming up to the lectern. Yes. If you wouldn't mind. So Keith, we're gonna give you 2 minutes. Tell the family why they should vote for you, why they should support you as opposed to your opponent, and then we're gonna get some questions from the audience.
Okay, I thought maybe 5 minutes. Was it? Okay. Yeah. I'm Keith Cascio. I'm the enthusiastically pro-reparations Republican candidate for this district that we're standing in, the 55th. And that is indeed an unusual position for a Republican. But if there was one Republican in California that would understand that issue, wouldn't it be the one who's trying to run to represent the most historic black district in California? All right. Please allow me to play 23 seconds of a famous song from 1975 I'm sure everyone here knows word for word. Okay, yes, the political machine. Okay, did everybody catch that lyric? I'm gonna speak it, and I'm gonna use a female pronoun. Welcome, my daughter. Welcome to the machine. What did you dream? It's all right. We told you what to dream. We told you what to dream. Now, let me quote from my blog post titled Slavery, Reparations, and the Political Machine. Quantitative reparations research and implementation is the best, most honest, most serious, and healthiest way for us Americans to finally address this country's history of racial exploitation. Now, how might we do that? I hope I can share something this evening that'll be useful regardless of whether I get elected or not. And I'd like to say that there's two kinds of people in politics. And I'm not talking about Democrats and Republicans. There's people who need politics for money, and there's people who don't. Now, there's a lot of amazing activists here this evening, some of the very best, and who have a lot of hard-earned experience. And they've seen how movements can gain momentum and movements can lose momentum. And if you have in mind an activist or a political worker or a elected official, and you realize, if we realize that this person needs that political work to put food on the table or to pay rent, we're probably not going to see fierce independence from that person. If the people who are meant to carry a radical project like American slavery reparations into the proverbial end zone need that work in order to pay rent, you might have to forget about that radical project. Instead, what we would see is cycle after cycle of grift. Grift on the suffering of the American black community. And with each cycle of grift, the cynicism sets in deeper. Now, by the way, there is absolutely no money in underdog Republican political campaigns in Los Angeles. I can assure you, zero. Okay? And if that lack of money repels anyone, I get it. But it's better to know that up front. Now, my opponent is a super nice guy. He's a smart guy. But if I were to pantomime the political predicament that he's in, I would do it like this. Okay? You know, the Bryan Fur Assembly 2024 campaign, I can assure you, does not envy our lack of funding, does not envy our lack of staff, does not envy our lack of endorsements, does not envy our lack of glamour, but I think on some level does envy our political freedom. The fresh air of freedom to genuinely represent and inspire and champion the citizens in the 55th Assembly District. And, you know, we can go out like we did all day today at Taste of Soul with a bright smile on our face, inspiring the community with no dark sarcasm behind it. And, you know, meanwhile, a lot of elected officials in California, perhaps my opponent, have to bite their tongue because they know that playing in that particular arena, they have to, their only option is to be the machine-installed, machine-funded replica of that thing. I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy. I'm just saying this is what the system that he's trapped in. Now, I'd like to say something else political, but I want to say I would never insult LA Democrats, okay? I've done extensive door-to-door work in this district, and guess who's friendly at the door? Registered Democrats. If I have any of my Republican fellows here, I apologize, but guess who's not friendly at the door? Republicans. You know, security cameras, no solicitor signs, beware of dog, barbed wire. Okay, but can you imagine waking up in the morning in Los Angeles, where I've lived for 23 years, with the amazing mix of incredibleness that we have here and severe problems, and thinking about how to try to solve those problems, and thinking to yourself, you know what LA's missing? You know what LA needs more than anything else? One more Democrat. That's what it needs. That 3 million registered Democrats in LA County, but one more is going to do it. All right, now, this district, the 55th, is so incredibly special. It's explosively special. The voters in this district could change all of American politics overnight. Not just LA politics, not just California politics, literally the entire country. If the right, moderate Republican candidate were to come along, and in the general election, if that candidate were to overperform by enough to shock the pros, not even enough to win, just enough to shock the pros, a political shockwave would go across the entire United States overnight. Here's what the consequences of that would be. And what happened on August 31st in the Assembly? Wasn't that a lack of responsiveness to the community? Wasn't it a lack of governmental responsiveness? Okay. This shockwave would go across the country where in every urban area in this country, the Democratic Party would suddenly become concerned about losing the vote, and would become massively more responsive to the communities that they're supposed to represent the way they should have been the whole time. Another consequence of it would be that the Republican Party would get a clue about how to actually try to win in urban districts. And it would remake politics in the United States, and everything would be up for grabs. And, otherwise, there's a song for that, and anybody can join in and sing with me if you want to. Welcome, my son, welcome to the machine. Thanks.
Thank you, Keith. Keith, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I think the people gotta talk to you, Keith. Brother, we're gonna go. Brother Yamoy, we're gonna go right here. But I gotta take 2 questions for Keith. Brother, family,
right,
and then 1 more question for Keith after that. All right. Yeah, another one.
What does reparations mean to you, and why have you decided to run for reparations for Black people? Like, what benefit are you gonna get out of this? And why are you wearing red, black, and green shoes?
Okay, these shoes have proven very versatile. Everything I do as a candidate is something I learned over time. I used to come down oftentimes after church to Leimert Park, and I would campaign here wearing much more conservative shoes, a more conservative tie, and I heard something that I thought was a joke, and then I decided in the end that it wasn't a joke. I was being mistaken for law enforcement. And so I took some advice, and I colored it up a little bit, and I've gotten a better response. The shoes also came in handy for Hispanic Heritage Month, because they're basically the colors of the Mexican flag also. Okay, but much more important question. How did I get to?
Hold on, family, hold up.
How did I get to reparations? So I'm an engineer by profession. Okay, I'm a software engineer. You give me a task like try to win the assembly seat in the 55th district, where I've lived for 23 years. And I try to learn little by little, and I go to places to try to observe. I go to, let's say, Black churches, First AME, West Angeles Church of God in Christ, Baldwin Hills Baptist Church, Bethesda Temple down on Crenshaw. And what seems to have happened is that there were things I set out to observe and things I set out to learn, and I somehow learned something much deeper than that. And I realized that, I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally, by the way, Chris. As far as I can tell, the American Black community is absolutely not understood. American history is not understood. Why might that be? Because the history is so violent that so many people had to protect themselves. They had to use various techniques of obfuscation, language, and things. There became a lost in translation effect just for people to protect themselves. And as a result of that, decades, hundreds of years later, the whole thing is totally confused. People don't understand it. They're full of fear. They're full of distrust. I don't know. The process of campaigning for office for me has made me extremely optimistic. I think we're living in a world now where you stay on your phone at home, you become like depressed. You go out and just go to churches and synagogues and mosques and chambers of commerce and neighborhood associations and cultural events, and you feel like the world hasn't actually changed as much as they say that it has. People are still pretty normal, and it's very uplifting. So I came to a point where I just realized that all these other things that are talked about are not going to work. The American Black community is not going to stand by and have history like sort of forgotten about or sort of downplayed. It's like there's a extremely strong intellectual core to the Black community that understands history perfectly well, and is just basically waving a big flag, trying to say, is this country going to finally admit what happened or not? Because when you start researching it, like for example, the documentary Slavery by Another Name, you find out it was like 100 different things after Reconstruction, right? Everybody here knows. And a lot of the whole country is basically just flying on autopilot, just not worried about it. It's been life transforming for me.
So what does reparations look like?
Okay, cash payments. How much? So it's a lot. If I could talk.
Hi, this is Dee. I want to know what is the number one thing that you, as a Republican candidate for District 55, would do differently from our current representatives? The number one thing that you would change.
Right. So that was kind of, I was trying to dramatize that earlier with the music and everything like that. Okay, in New York City, where I'm from, my hometown, in Chicago and in LA, we have a political machine. That is defined by political scientists as dominated by one party. There's a blurring of distinction between party and government. Those are supposed to be two completely separate things. And it's a patronage system where jobs and money are handed out for political loyalty. In all of human history, you don't tend to see accountability from elected officials in a system like that. So what I'm trying to experimentally try to show is that there actually could be genuine political competition in an urban area that that is thought of as being like completely foregone to a machine. And that would loosen up resources, and it would force the powers that be to be more responsive. So, actually, Assemblyman Bryan, my assemblyman, and I agree on a lot of things. However, I think, and I meant it when I said it earlier, I think he envies the amount of political freedom I have. In fact, you could construe it in a way, my campaign may actually empower him. Because as long as he's able to go to his people and say, look, there's somebody coming, or there's more attention being paid here, he could literally be given more funds, he could be given more power to actually implement the policies that he wants to implement. And that's good politics always looks like that. It always ends up empowering the community that you're trying to represent.
We're gonna take one more from sister right here. Sister, your hand went up and your face said it all.
So, are you a Trump supporter? Do you believe in him, his policies, the way he reacts, the way he responds to things he says about black communities and immigrants? Are you in line with that realm of thinking?
No, I'm not in line with that realm of thinking. I think American national politics has become a charade. I'm campaigning for office here, and I don't need any more, I don't need to campaign for him, you know? So, right, that's the number one question. If you run as a Republican in urban Los Angeles, that is the number one question. How do you feel about Donald Trump? I think a Republican candidate has to have a PhD level answer for that. Okay?
Are you kissing the ring?
I'm not a fan of the complete stupidity of American politics right now. I'm not a fan of the fact that basically national politics is a charade, the purpose of which is to hide the way the American economy works.
Okay, so Keith, I'm just gonna pick up on the question, then I wanna get to our next candidate. The question is, are you a supporter or are you going to Trump? The answer, can you answer yes or no?
I haven't voted yet. I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump. I haven't voted yet. Right now, my current thinking is I want to vote for the most anti-war candidate.
Okay. Thank you, Keith.
The first 18 years of my voting life, I was registered green. The point, the intellectual point where you say evil and eviler,
Keith,
that's how I started my voting life.
So Keith, thank you very much. Keith, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time, brother. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Let me switch your mics. Okay. Hold on. Give me that. Yeah. So Keith, there's one last question for you. Will you sign the reparations pledge, though, Keith?
Absolutely, enthusiastically. I did sign it already. I'd be happy to sign another copy if that would be it.
Okay, all right, Keith is signing the pledge. Okay. Somebody got, you coming over here, all right? Yeah, have it. You got it? Okay, all right. So Keith has signed it already, y'all. Keith is actually signed it already. Okay, let's do it. Come on, keep them up here real quick if you don't mind. People want you to see it. People want to see you do it, Keith. You can give me a blank one if you don't mind. Give me a blank one. And where's that pen at? All right, we putting everybody. We want to see everybody do it. Where's that pen at, fam? All right, there we go. Sign on the dotted line, Keith. Yeah. Okay, and family. Keith, you're getting a lot of good questions.
I don't know the individual symbol meanings.
Okay. So, okay, fam. We're gonna go to the next candidate. All right, thank y'all. Keith, please, thank you very much, Keith. We can have a seat. Thank you very much. Wow. Now, let me say real quick, I'm very proud of us right now. All right, I'm very proud of us. Okay, I'm very proud of us. Okay, real talk. Okay, thank God. Oh my. Okay. Yep. Okay, so we going next. So next up, of course, is
welcome to the room, Grace Yu. She is running for LA City Council in District 10. Welcome, Grace.
Come on, Grace. You've been very patient. Please, somebody give me a blank pledge ready, please. Grace, we're gonna give you 5 minutes. Tell the people what you're running for, why they should vote for you.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Yu. When I was invited tonight, as soon as I saw reparations, I was like, oh, I'm there. You know why? This isn't my first rodeo. This isn't my first try at running for City Council District 10, where you're sitting. In 2020, I was happy and willing to sign the reparations because that is the only right thing to do. You know, the Japanese Americans got their redress and reparations in 1988. It took decades of work for that to happen. And I know that the Black community is stronger, has more political friends, and can do it too. And I am more than happy to sign it once again. We signed it, but I'll do it right here in front of you all.
Give me the mic, bro. Give me the mic. Thank you very much.
And what I will tell you is my background, I'm a first-generation immigrant from South Korea. I came with my parents when I was 3. We moved into the district in August of 1974. It's been 50 years since I've been here in Los Angeles, my home. And I've been spending the last 20 years being a champion for the people against the city council and their strange behaviors. I was like, why is this happening? Why is this? Now we know the corruption, the pay to play, the $500,000 gets you whatever you want in this city, unfortunately, right? That's what's happened. I'm standing here asking for your support because I need you, the people behind me, to win and change what happens in this city. I am not a person who's with the establishment. I am my own person, and I am a champion for the people. I started out as an attorney representing abused and neglected children in Edelman's Children's Court. Not the social worker, but the child, right? I did that public interest work. I was extremely happy and proud doing that. Thought I'd be there for decades until I retired, until my boss became a judge, and the politics within that office was too much. And I was fortunate that the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association said, we want to try you out, Grace Yu. Can you help us grow the organization and be more powerful? And you know who, I got the position, but the person who helped mentor me to make NAPABA stronger was John Crump, the executive director of the National Bar Association. Without the NBA's executive director, John Crump, I probably would not have been able to grow my organization's finances fourfold within 5 years, okay? I learned quick. You know, I'll start back with when I was in kindergarten, I started school without knowing English. So I cried the first month. Luckily, I was in kindergarten and I picked up English really well, really quickly. But that's how I started, right? Because I didn't speak the language. And you ask, what does reparations mean to you? It means acknowledging what was wrong and saying we were wrong and here's the money. And you talk about black students and making sure that they have the funding. You better believe I believe in that. Because the only way you start to change things is at the early stages, and education is the best place. My heart was always with juvenile delinquents, because if you got them while they were still youth and teenagers, you had a better chance. And while I was studying law, it came clear to me that it wasn't the delinquents I needed to work with, it was the dependency kids, because 70% of our dependency kids back 30 years ago or so went and became the little delinquents, right? Some of my clients that started becoming 14 and 15, I'd have to go to juvenile delinquency court. I was the one who'd go to the school IEPs. I know, that's what the social worker does, not what an attorney does. That's what my supervising attorney would say to me. But I would go because if the attorney went, the principal, the teachers, everybody paid attention. You want me in office because people will pay attention. All of a sudden the streets are going to be clean. The lamp lights will be on. I'm wanting to be your council member so that the tax dollars that we pay aren't wasted. Like, it is ridiculous to say that affordable housing units are being built and they say it's $1,800 for a studio. I'm gonna give you guys more honest answers. I'm not gonna promise you anything that I cannot deliver. I can promise you that I will be open to the community members all throughout CD10. I will be mindful of the dollars that are generated, that come from new development. Do you realize since 2016, CD10 has had so much development that there's more than $200 million that was generated throughout the district. Okay, those $200 million, you know where they're supposed to go? They're supposed to go into new green space, new parks, new recreational centers. But I certainly don't see that kind of development or new green space, do you? No. And you know what's interesting? Some of my friends went to speak with the general manager of Recs and Parks and talking about, hey, so where's all this money? And they're like, they only knew a fraction of it. They didn't even know that they were supposed to have all this money. And the reality is, the Quimby funds are written in a way that if the funds are not utilized, identified of how it will be spent within 5 years, the developer can ask for the money back. Is that what happened? I don't know. I can't wait to get inside and fight for us and get that money that we all deserve, okay? That's what's supposed to happen. I'm Grace Yu. I would hope that you know that I'm the woman who's gonna be there for you and vote for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. Don't go nowhere, stay right there. Thank you much. I can take 2 questions for that. Damn, okay. Let me go family here. I'm gonna come back to the Carl Marcus and birthday Lori.
Hello, hello. My question is, if you are elected, will you hire and or ask community members to be on your staff that are involved and have input and a good insight on what's happening in the community?
Oh, absolutely. Of course I would. We're gonna have a ship-shape, responsive team. said ship shape.
Yeah, so my name is Marcus Champion. I'm a co-founder of CJAC and LEAP, also a board member with New Frontier Democratic Club. And so at that New Frontier Democratic Club forum with your opponent, Heather Hutt, you were asked a question about helping young black professionals get jobs at a city level. And then your response was you don't really see young black professionals look for jobs at the city level. So have you had a change of heart on that since then, or can you elaborate on that?
I'm not sure exactly which part of the New Frontier Democratic response and answer that is from, because the question is, would I help African Americans get jobs? The answer is yes. I think you might be thinking something different, but go ahead. I'd love to have a conversation with you.
No, you were asked a question about young black professionals getting jobs at the city level. And your response was you really don't see young black professionals looking for jobs at a city level. And that the crowd tripped out about that, because that's kind of crazy. But, you know, can you elaborate? Because that's what you said at the forum. I'm not really confusing that. That's what you said.
Okay, so I will tell you that I may have misunderstood the question. If the question is, okay, so one more time. The question is, will I help? What will I do? If the question is, am I hiring young blacks for my positions? The answer is yes, but go ahead.
So the question was about young black professionals looking for jobs at the city level. This is a black forum with black residents, black community members. So just like you go visit with Latinos, the Asian community, any other community, they want to know what you're going to do for their community. And so for us, at that forum, you were asked about young black professionals at the city level. And like I said, your answer was, I don't see young black professionals looking for jobs at the city level, or I really don't see them. And so, you know, that was crazy, like I said.
So I'm not sure where my head was at that moment, but I will tell you, I'm gonna help people who want jobs in the city and the county, and I'm gonna help people in my district get jobs that are needed. The city has a really horrible inability to hire quickly. They take months, and therefore people don't actually want to or end up getting hired by the city, because in between these 5-6 months that it takes, they've already been hired elsewhere. And maybe that's what I was trying to say, but I have no qualms about hiring people of every ethnicity for my staff. And as far as the city is concerned, I don't know what the city's policies and hiring rates are, so I don't have anything to speak to that. But I'm gonna help my residents get jobs, because that's the best way to help people be more engaged.
So I just have a really very pointed question. Do you support cash distributions as a form of reparations?
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Camila Moore, and I served on the California Reparations Task Force. I also was at the New Frontier Democratic Club candidate forum when I heard you speak, and I remember it was a question asked where they asked you, how will you represent of the black community? And you said something like, oh, I can't specifically answer that question. I can't specifically answer about how I'll represent the interests of just the black community in my district, because my district is diverse. And I represent Asian folks, white folks, yada, yada, yada. But people weren't satisfied with that answer, because the forum that you were at, the New Frontier Democratic Club, similar to this forum, is predominantly black, where we actually have specific interests. The intersection of that includes reparations. So my question to you is, one, can you clarify your stance about how will you represent the interests of your black constituents in this district, and have you been following the Los Angeles Reparations Commission? Because Los Angeles as a city has its own reparations commission, and the county, but since you're running for Los Angeles City Council, have you been actually following that work, and have you had any envisioning about what your relationship to that commission might look like if you are elected.
Okay, we'll start. Question number one was, what would I do to help the Black community members of my district? And I think I said it at the New Frontier Democrats as well that night, where I helped a church that was redlined, predominantly African American congregation, with a senior pastor who's African American who reached out to me and asked for some help. The reality is redlining still happens. We don't want to believe it, but this church was unable to get a loan from a major bank, and I was able to find a regional bank that was owned by Koreans who were able to give this church, it's Watts Tree of Life Church, the loan. Okay, so if you ask for help, support, I'm gonna do everything I can to help all the people in my district.
I just want to, I don't want to be combative, so I just wanted to take a step back.
Okay.
But I just want to repeat kind of what you said. You said, if you come and ask for help, I'll help you.
If there's a need that I see, I'm going to do what I can to help. But I don't know everything. And in fact, it was because Morris Griffin gave me this, wonderful little piece of paper that makes everybody understand that the state California American Freedom Affairs Agency task force didn't have any dollars associated with the bill. So you can talk about a bill, but if there's no funding for it, nothing happens, right? And so you have to educate me sometimes. I don't know everything that's going on in every part of this district, but when I do learn, actually, if you like to know what the voting numbers look like, actually the Political Data Incorporated has stats, and those stats tell you that the number of registered voters are approximately 144,000 people. I know you know your numbers, but I'm letting you know what I got yesterday off of this data. And the data could be wrong. I'm just telling you what I read off of Political Data Incorporated. To educate with the truth, yes, I will do that. I've got numbers to show it. You can all go to politicaldataincorporated.com, politicaldatainc.com. You go to the City of Los Angeles, District 10. I'm not talking about anything other than District 10 because that's where my numbers are. And so it says there are approximately 30% Latino registered voters, approximately 29% white voters, approximately 28% Black voters, and approximately 13% Asian voters. So I'm not running saying, hey, vote for me only because of the color of my skin and that Asians don't count. I think I'm going to win because...
Because you just said that the top three voters in the district are, one of them is Black folks. We have to remember that Black folks have been pushed out of this district. So the reason why those numbers have changed is because Black folks have been pushed out of the district.
Vice presidential candidate, I will say to you that I can hold my own with numbers and stats, and when it comes down to it, there was a consulting group that came and shared their numbers with the New Frontier Democrats in February or so, where they gave us different numbers for the entire city of Los Angeles, or was it the county of Los Angeles? I think it was the city of Los Angeles, and what the numbers were and how they voted in the mayoral race. And I think you would be surprised at those numbers if you talk to the, right, but Where did I say black people don't count? I just told you who.
You are not the plurality, so I'm going to represent all of the district. When they say all lives matter, they mean not black lives.
You know, you're putting words into my mouth. Just because I am not going to be stopping my conversation with this group and telling them what those numbers are, does not mean I am discounting the African American vote. I do know that the African American voter population is very strong and very vocal. I know that. But I'm also someone who says, I'm not here to make enemies. If I were, I would have never shown up. I believe in reparations because that's the way, you know, when countries have done wrong, Japan, Germany, there were reparations. When there were these grandmas who were used as sex slaves and they euphemistically call them comfort women, got their reparations. That's why I'm like, the ADOS folks need reparation. That means money to me. Okay? If you don't give them the money and you just apologize, that's not enough. And that's why I'm okay with this cash. And I'm just telling it like it is.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Hold on, Grace. Don't go nowhere. We can take 1 or 2 more questions for Grace, and then I got to get to our next candidate here who's been waiting patiently. And then I want to get to a special guest, and then we're going to get to 2 remaining candidates here as well. So I saw a brother back there first. I'm going to go here, and then I got to go here, sister, because I had you earlier. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go here. Here and here, all right, brother? And then let's get to the next one. Yes, sir.
All right, right on. My question is a little bit different. You talked about parks, you talked about green space, and we know that that green space thing is oftentimes used against us. But we also know that when you talk about data, Los Angeles is of the big cities in America, got the least public park space for the black community of any big city in America. So how are we going to expand that and then give control of the public park space back to the black community? That means access to the community centers, get rid of all the red tape. How are we going to put that public space back into the hands of the people who need to control the land inside their community? And to me, that's a reparations question, but how are you going to do that? How are you going to give control to the public parks and the public space back to the black community in District 55?
Good question.
You know, the public parks and the recreation centers are operated through the Recreation and Parks out of the city of Los Angeles. I will open up as much as I can. I will work with general manager to ensure that the hours are extended. If it requires some money from my discretionary funds in CD10. That's the kind of thing I would like to do. Because I know when there's space for people to, you know, play basketball, play volleyball, play sports, be healthy, it's a good thing for the community.
Well, what about the fences around our parks? You going to take the fences off our parks?
Hold on, brother. Let me get you the mic, brother. Hold on.
You're going to take the fences off the parks, you're going to stop the police from policing the people, you're going to put the control of the community and the parks back into the hands of the community. I think that's also the material thing.
If I have any ability to take down the gate around the park, I will do so because I've heard from the community members that they do not like the gates. So I know that the community doesn't want the gates.
Okay, and one more for Grace. Yes, ma'am.
So related to reparations, Dr. Melina Abdullah just mentioned as well the fact that reparations is it's a check and, right? It's a check and
Absolutely.
Transforming systems. And one of those systems that we cannot forget that's attached to it is policing, because police hail from slave catchers. So it's absolutely connected. So I want to know, are you in support, this is a multi-layered question, are you in support of the fact that the police just got a raise, right? And they are continuing to chip at the budget, not only by virtue of the fact they just got a $1 billion raise, not only the fact that they've already exceeded their lawsuits for the year within the first quarter of the fiscal year, and the fact that we know that they also connected to things around 4118, which I know you do support, right? Which we have to remember that 4118 when we are thinking about in Los Angeles, Skid Row is the largest open air encampment. And so that is literally criminalizing black folks. And so how do you say that you support reparations and simultaneously at the same breath support something like 4118? And what would you do around the police budget?
I'll start with 4118, which both, as you know, both my opponent and I both agree that 4118 is something that we would enforce because the sidewalks should be safe for everybody. That means people who are housed as well as unhoused. And you ask, how do we make it less? You.
That's the problem. We need to fix the unhoused problem, and that way you don't put people in jail.
Okay, so it isn't a situation where all I want to do is put people in jail. That is not my goal. Actually, 4118, I think, incentivizes people to go in to housing spaces that are already available. We need more spaces. We don't have enough space. I get it, but we're not going to get it when we spend, over $800,000 or $1 million for one unit of permanent supportive housing. Look, if we don't have that kind of money, we're never going to get to in the city of Los Angeles, about 35,000 people are unhoused, right? Or unroofed. And so I'm just looking for ways in which we can use like containers or prefabricated building materials to make it easier. I had in front of my law office a woman who was only 60 years old, and she said, Grace, I'm not old enough, I haven't been here long enough, that they're not giving me housing. And she said, I don't want to go into the shelters because it's not safe. I feel safer here on Wilshire Boulevard than I do there. So I get it. I would like for us to have facilities that are clean and safe.
Houses. The answer is houses, not shelters, not facilities.
Well, I would say before we get to housing, we've got to also have shelters. It's not like we can have people waiting on the streets until everybody gets permanent supportive housing. I agree with you.
Okay. There was a follow-up question about the police budget.
And, as far as the police budget is concerned, the fact that they have such a huge portion of our budget, I think what we need to do is make them responsible for the liabilities. Don't take it out of the general funds, so that means we don't have more money to use for sidewalk fixing. You caused the problem, you solve it with your own budget. You have more than enough out of that funding. So that's how I would handle that one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. Okay. You want to come brother, if you don't mind? Oh, my brother over there, if you don't mind, come up here, but I need some assistance. We got one more candidate before I want to bring up a special guest to talk about Prop 6. Great work, family. Okay, great work. All right. Okay, Stephen Williams, District 43, Congress. Come on up, brother. 2 to 5 minutes. We've been saying 2 to 5 minutes. You good there. 2 to 5 minutes. Tell the people what you're running for. Why should people vote for you right now?
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say this is unexpected. I came here because this is not part of my district. The congressional district I represent is Compton, Watts, South LA, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Gardena, and part of North Torrance. But I came here because of the subject of reparations, and I came here to observe and to listen and learn and find out what the constituents really are demanding in their communities. And so it is something that is relevant in my community. And Dr. Where is she? There she is. Yes. She recognized me from a different forum that I did over at Magic Johnson Park, and she said, hey, why don't you speak? So this is completely unexpected. So just so you know, I don't represent this part of LA. However, being in Congress, all of America is your constituent because you are voting on federal legislation that affects all Americans. So just to give you a quick background about myself, I was born in LA. First 2 years of my life, I was raised in Hawthorne. Next 16 years, I was raised in Harbor City. I went to Narbonne High School. After graduating Narbonne, I went to USC and majored in business. After that, I went to work in the internet business, and I dealt with a lot of startup companies that came to me as business plans. Realtor.com, Stamps.com, Yahoo was one of my clients. I got the chance to work with the entertainment companies, Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, Capitol Records, and whatnot. When that all imploded in 2002, I got into commercial real estate, and I've been doing that ever since. My father's black, born and raised in South Central. He was a gang member. My mother is Filipino, or was Filipino and Mexican, and she was in a gang as well, raised in Echo Park. So I am the product of 2 gang members. I have 2 older brothers, and my parents were able to keep me and my brothers out of the gangs, and they stressed education. As you guys know how a black man raises his sons, you need to be twice as good as the white man in order to get a fair shake. I made sure I was 10 times as good. So I was accepted to Berkeley. I turned that down. I was accepted to UCLA. I turned that down. My brother talked me into going to USC. And the reason that I chose that was because he asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a businessman. He said, where do you want to do business? I said, I want to do it in LA. He said, then why would you want to go to Berkeley? I said, well, it's the 5th ranked public school in the nation at the time, and I want to go away to school. I want to experience that. He goes, yeah, do me a favor. Drive downtown LA during rush hour one morning during the week and tell me what you see on all the license plate frames. And what I saw was USC alumni. And I realized that the USC alumni really run this town. And so what he was trying to teach me is it's all about relationships. Life is about relationships. So that's why, again, I came here tonight, was to make relationships, learn about more what the people are actually asking for, what they want. As a subject of reparations, as I've told people in the past, being raised with that whole idea of you gotta be twice as good, and I made sure I was 10 times better. At first, I was against reparations because I felt, no, I don't need a leg up. I'm still better than them, I can still do it, I can still get ahead. But as I went on and got married, since divorce, raised my daughters on my own, I realized that when it comes to generational wealth, when it comes to the future, when it comes to your lineage, they have a head start, right? And I started to realize what reparations really meant for me was, okay, we fought for all this equality. We have laws that's supposed to protect us. We have activists that make sure to get on and hold people accountable when those laws are broken and the equality is not there. However, so much for being equal if they're starting all the way up there and me and my family are still here. So I started thinking something's got to be done to make it right. And so I am in favor of cash payment, but more importantly, I'm more in favor of things like low or no interest loans to start businesses. No taxes for 5 to 7 years on those businesses. Things like that will help us, our community, catch up. Because that's what we need. We need to catch up. And so, again, that's why I came here that night on August 31st. Tariq Nasheed ended up doing a Twitter space. I jumped on that, had the opportunity to really listen and understand with over 2,000 people what it was that they really wanted, what it was that their argument. And there was differences of opinion, right? You have the FBA, you have the ADOS, you have other organizations, different factions, but we're all fighting for the same thing. So what I can say is that I don't profess to know any of the answers. That's why I'm here, to learn. And we need to collaborate. And the reason why I feel that for the 43rd District, the current Congresswoman, I have nothing bad to say about her. She has a mural down the street, okay? But she's been there for 33 years, and it's time, as Joe Biden said when he handed that baton to Kamala, right? What did he say? It's time for a new, younger, fresher voice. So that's what I feel that I am, is that new, younger, fresh voice. I'm here to try to come up with innovative solutions like We need to get together and collaborate and figure out. And my biggest priority outside of the reparations for my district, because of what I've heard, is to help on the local issues. It's crime. We have the largest RV encampments in my district. Over 550 RVs. They're dumping 9,000 gallons of human waste into the sewer system that goes into the ocean. We have child trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, but there's no federal support. There's no DEA there. There's no Homeland Security there. There's no EPA to stop the human waste from going in the ocean. You keep hearing on the news, oh, can't go in the water, can't go in the water. It's not because of a sewage spill. It's because of 9,000 gallons of human waste going into the sewer system out to the ocean every month. So I feel that we need a federal representative that will be here in meetings like this on the regular, not back in DC catering to lobbyists. People have asked me, have you talked to the lobbyists? No, because I'm anti-lobbyist. They've asked me, what committees do you want to be on? I can tell you, I want to be on education, I want to be on workforce, I want to be on small business, but they're not going to let me, because the only way you can get on a committee, and anybody that knows about how Congress works, you have to raise money for a lobbyist in that sector of the committee you want to be on. So why would I do that? Okay? I'm going to take that budget that I would have for being in DC. Your average congressperson gets $1.9 million a year for staff in office. Most congressional people in California have one district office. I'm going to open up 5. That way it's scattered through the community. Someone asked, are you going to hire people from the community? Well, yeah, my Gardena office will have people from Gardena. My Compton office will have people from Compton. Inglewood will have people from Inglewood. Because that's the way you're able to know what's going on in the street. Because let's face it, it's what happens in the street is what really matters. It's not what happens in DC or Sacramento. It's what happens here on the daily. And if you're not in tune with what's happening here on the daily because you're busy wearing nice things to galas, being on TV specials, how could you possibly know what you guys need? And with that, I'll take questions.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna try to get some folks who haven't asked no questions. Got a question back here, 1, 2, and then I'm coming back to you, sister. I'm like, you're supposed to be staff. You ain't supposed to ask no questions.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I want to know, are you part of the local or state central committee? And if you are, will you share with us how we can become a part of that committee? Because a lot of us don't engage ourselves that closely. And number 2, if you are elected, will you form a relationship with us and author a reparations bill with us in mind?
So first question, I am currently not part of the central committee. And so that we can have full disclosure, I am a Republican. I consider myself a radical black Republican, okay? To answer any questions about Donald Trump, I didn't vote for him in 2016. I didn't vote for him for 2020. I'm not voting for him in 2024. So we can get that out of the way. In terms of, like you said, central committee, people can get involved with the central committees. Since even if I'm not elected, finishing as the top Republican, I will be on a central committee as what's known as ex officio. If any of you guys know what that means I'll be basically like an ad hoc member of that committee, and I will open the doors to any opportunities, because here's what I'm talking about. This is what needs to happen. We have enough black people on the Democratic side to get things done. I didn't make this system up. I hate political parties. I ran in 2022 as an independent. I got 1,200 votes. 4 people who didn't campaign, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, got thousands of votes. And they didn't even campaign. I campaigned. What does that tell you? In America, we're tribal. You're an RRD. So, because I never was part of a political party, and in Los Angeles, as Mr. Cascio rightfully explained, this is a political machine dominated by the Democratic Party. So I can't go to the Democratic Party and say, hey, I want to run for Congress because I've had cousins killed in the district. I've had homies smoked in the district. I played ball in and out of the district my whole life. Once upon a time, Harbor City was part of the district. That's where my tie is. That's where I want to help on the congressional level, because that's what's needed, especially when we've had career politicians there for decades that haven't delivered on the promises that they've been saying that they're going to keep. Okay? So I said, okay, I'll join this party. And everyone says, well, it's all effed up. Well, then maybe, because I don't back down from a challenge, maybe I can be the first domino to fall that's going to help switch this party to the party of the people. You can't say that this party or that party can't represent this race or this community or that. That's BS, okay? That's BS. And I'm going to tell you right now, these guys in the LA GOP and the LA County Republican Party, this man can attest to it, they don't know what to think of me. They don't know what to think, because they've never had someone like this step up, to have a multicultural conservative. And when I say conservative, I'm not saying, oh, lock them up, throw away the key, do this, do that, massive. No, just my basic fundamental values are conservative. So we're going to agree on probably 75, 80%, okay? And 20% of the things we're going to probably disagree, but that doesn't mean we can't collaborate and come to a happy medium to make this work. Because that's what it's going to take. Enough of this fighting, this red and blue, this, that, the other. We need to take care of business, because the time has come. And I'm tired of seeing my young brothers growing up in the same vicious cycle that my dad was able to break and keep me out of, and keep watching what's going down, especially in the district that I want to represent.
So first I want to thank you guys all for coming out. Everything that you guys are saying sounds nice, but we all know that talk is cheap. A lot of people tell us what we want to hear and not what we need to know. And one of the things that I've noticed is that August 31st was a very special day for me, because not only was I on the same Capitol as the Black Panthers, but I really got to see the belly of the beast on Sacramento politics and who politicians worship. And it wasn't the people that they were elected to serve. It was the lobbyists that flooded the whole building. So my question to you and all of you is, first of all, I think it's these things sound great, but I'm tired of broken promises. You're asking us to support you on the ballot, but we all know that voting doesn't just end at the ballot. We vote every day with our dollar. So my question to y'all is, would you be willing to forfeit your personal assets if you do a disservice to the Black community like they did? Would you be willing to commit your own financial personal assets? Because I think it's a disgusting thing when the net worths of politicians increase while they do a disservice and forget the people that elected them and put them there in the first place. You look at how these Black faces in high places and people just like them, their net worths increase while we are continuously going to zero. If nothing changes, if we're on the current trajectory that we are on right now, by 2050, we'll be a permanent underclass. And the very same people that are contributing, the very same people that are contributing to that underclass, their net worth tends to increase. So would you all be willing to forfeit your personal assets if you do a disservice to an organization of the community's choosing? How do y'all feel about that?
Can I shake your hand? Thank you for asking. Thank you for bringing that up. This is a youngster right here that gets it, because my net worth is negative, okay? My net worth is negative. I ain't rich. In fact, running for Congress has hurt me. I'm a commercial real estate broker. I don't get paid unless I close a deal. That's how I get paid. When I close a deal, when escrow closes, when someone signs a lease. So guess what? If I'm out here campaigning, can I close deals? No. Yeah. So talk to my landlord. He ain't happy. All right? So I can relate. And he's right. How do you go into Congress on $174,000 a year salary and have a house in Hancock Park? All I'm saying is, I'm not going in this for money. That's why I just said, I don't care I want to be on a committee, but I know I won't be, because I ain't taking no lobbyist money. I ain't taking, look at what when you see when the next financials come out and see what I've raised. I've raised $17,000 in a race that a black man who ran as a Republican in 2020 raised 10 million. Okay? This is all grassroots. This is all from the heart. This is because, like I said, having family members and friends killed in the district, watching the schools not do well and perform. Although Compton, for like districts, that's one thing we can say. Compton School District has scored #1 for those types of districts, so we can give it up that they are turning things around there. But then you look at Inglewood, who's got to close 5 schools, right? And they're going to sell them off to developers, right? So, like you said, the belly of the beast, it's them developers.
Let me go. Hold on. Let me go here. Great question. Hold on.
One area that I haven't heard anyone talk about, I know African American community is small, but black veterans. It's a very big concern for African American veterans. I know you were talking about what committees, we would definitely like to see a bigger representation on the House Committee for Veteran Affairs. And in this community you walk through, you see a lot of homeless vets. I mean, we serve our country. I'm a veteran also, so I serve my country faithfully, and it's hard to get benefits, it's hard to get, medical care, it's hard to get things that have been promised to us, not only on a national level, but on a, state level, and then it's even worse for the city. I know one candidate mentioned that they were at the Bob Hill Patriot. Okay, which is mostly the county, but it's very hard for black veterans out here as far as loans, business loans, and just making that transition. What are your plans, or where do you see that going?
So, my grandfather on my dad's side was a World War II veteran. He was part of the Black Infantry. My dad was a veteran of the Vietnam War. My father used the VA loan in 1973 to buy a triplex in Hawthorne. Okay, so I have a little bit of experience with veterans. My father currently uses the VA. He goes to Long Beach instead of Westwood. And we do need to do more for veterans. I've always felt, especially when we had invaded Iraq, and they had talked about when they found that $650 million cash in that warehouse, I said they should give every soldier as the opportunity to grab as much of that loot as they could and put it in what they could and whatever they could walk out with. Because these are people that are putting their lives on the line, fighting not a real war, fighting under ulterior motives for multinational corporations, right? And we're not going to take care of them? And then we're going to deny them benefits and say, oh, you don't have what you didn't get this because when they had those oil fields on fire, right? Or whatever gas they released. So I believe that's the first people you should be taking care of, because they didn't ask to go to war, they were sent by their government. So whether the war was just or not, it's like blaming the waitress because the cook messed up on the order, right? So I believe we need to take care of veterans first and foremost before we start sending money to foreign countries, before we start spending money on other things that aren't as high a priority as our veterans and people who are sleeping on the street.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And we got one more question. Somebody please give me a fresh pledge, fresh reparations pledge, please. Thank you. The final question is, will you sign a reparations pledge, brother, today?
Absolutely.
All right. Please, we can make it do it real ceremonial. We didn't plan it like this, but thank you. Put you right there. Thank you very much. That will be shared online. Thank you very much. And family, so first thing I want to say is, as the brother signs, thank you, okay? We almost done. We almost done, okay? We got 2 more candidates. Before we get to the final 2 candidates who are running for some very local offices in this area specifically, I wanted to ask, so I met this brother, man, 2, 3 something years ago. He's gonna talk to you about who he is, but there's a very special proposition on the ballot this year called Prop 6. Proposition 6, we want folks to vote yes on Prop 6, yes on Prop 6. and one of, if not the original authors, actually, the original author of the bill that created Prop 6 is here in the building right now. And I want to bring up none other than my good friend and brother, Samuel N. Brown. Sam, please come on up here, brother. Family. Yes, sir.
Peace, everybody. No, that was too weak for me. Peace, everybody. So my name is Samuel N. Brown. I'm the founder director of the 10P program. It's a program that I created while I was incarcerated. And I'm also the original author of the language that became Prop 6, a bill that I wrote while I was in prison with a life sentence. So I would like to talk to you all about Prop 6. We're here talking about reparations, and we know reparations is basically to repair for the harm that was caused from slavery. People celebrate Juneteenth these days, we advocate for reparations, but the fact of the matter is slavery hasn't ended. Slavery is far from done. You know, they say slavery now has another name, it's true. Many people think that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but it didn't. What it did was it conditioned slavery, and it conditioned it on a felony conviction. And there's a mechanism known as due process, and once they run you through that due process machine, if you commit a crime, then you can become a slave, period. And most people don't know that. And so Prop 6, if you're not already aware of it, Prop 6 is something that everybody in here needs to vote yes on. Can y'all say yes on Prop 6? Can y'all say yes on Prop 6? Yes on Prop 6. Thank you. And so the reason why it's important is because, like I said, I served 24 years in prison. And everybody that I met in the carceral setting was a casualty long before they was an offender. Everybody I met in the carceral setting was a casualty long before they were an offender. They were traumatized. I'm also the pioneer of the theory of emotional illiteracy-based criminality. And that posits that nobody's born bad, nobody's born evil, but people adopt criminality as a coping mechanism for unprocessed traumas. So everybody I knew that was in a gang, everybody I knew that committed a violent crime, they had probably been like molested, called stupid at their house, came from a single parent household, was made to feel like they was unimportant, and when they walked outside and they met their partners or their friends, they didn't call them stupid. They wasn't touching on them, they wasn't beating them down. They felt like they had somebody they could bond with. So hurt people, y'all all heard that saying before. And so everybody I met in prison was somebody that actually needed a mentor. There was somebody that needed somebody to talk to. There was somebody that needed a space where they could be vulnerable at and learn something. And placing them in prison and making them work for corporations, placing them in prison and making them work for McDonald's, Walmart, 3M, Nintendo, Victoria's Secrets, that's not the answer. So Prop 6 stops that. Prop 6 stops placing forced labor over rehabilitation. It allows people to go to anger management, stress management, victim awareness, victim sensitivity, and get the help that they need instead of being forced to push a broom. I learned how to push a broom in my mama's house. I learned how to wash dishes in my mama's house. I don't need to go to the pen to learn how to do that. I don't need to go to the pen ever. But while I was in the pen, it gave me an opportunity to sit in programs that address some of the issues that I had. I created one, the 10P program. I created this program in 2014, 10 years ago. It helps spearhead what rehabilitation looks like in the state right now, but you wouldn't know it because I was a life of prisoner. I couldn't get recognized for it, but I'm home now, right? Thank you. And my team, I now hire people. I got people that work for me now. I send my team inside the prisons across the state to go teach emotional literacy every single week, right? I got 3 college degrees, an Associate of Arts in Social Science, an Associate of Arts Transfer degree in Sociology, and I graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor's in Communication Studies. The reason why I wrote Prop 6 to begin with is because I was the first person in the state of California that had to clean behind somebody that tested positive for COVID-19. So while I was in Lancaster, one of the staff members brought COVID in. And when they did, they passed it to the prison population. And because I was a hospital janitor, HFM, health facility maintenance worker, lead crew, it was my job to go disinfect behind this lady who brought it in, and then disinfect behind every person that tested positive in the hospital area from that point forward. We started out with a 12-man crew, we went down to just me, a 1-man crew. And I remember telling my supervisors, because my neighbor died from COVID, the guy above me died from COVID, somebody in the other building, my partner Pee Wee, he died from COVID, and I told my supervisor, I said, man, I'm scared for my life. I don't want to go in here and try to clean behind this invisible bug that we don't understand anymore. And they told me,
you have to do it or else. And I'm like, or else what? Or else you're gonna get a 115. And anybody in here familiar with the prison process, they know a 115 is the modern day whip. That's what they use to compel you to do what you otherwise wouldn't do. It's a rules violation report. And because I was a life of prison and I had to go to the Board of Parole hearings, a 115 would have got me a 15-year denial. It didn't matter that I got 3 college degrees. It didn't matter that I took thousands of hours of self-help programming. It didn't matter that I created a program. If I would have missed one day of work, they would have said that I was a risk to society and denied me the opportunity from coming home. That's what involuntary servitude looks like in our prison system. Then, on top of that, aside from giving people the opportunity in prison to get the rehabilitation they need, it also takes away the incentive from these big corporations to invest in quote-unquote tough-on-crime legislation that decimates communities of color. I'm gonna say that again. It takes away the incentive from Walmart, Home Depot, the supporters of Prop 36, from having the incentive to invest in this so-called tough-on-crime legislation that destroys our community so they can get cheap labor forces. That's really what it's about. When you're sitting there on the phone thinking you're talking to a receptionist that might be in the Philippines or Thailand, you're talking to a sister in Folsom Prison. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Exactly, a lot of people don't know that. And then these same people, lens crafters. You go to the pen, you work for lens crafters, make all these glasses, then when you get out, they won't even hire you. Happens all the time. All the street signs, all the furniture in the state buildings, all the license plates, all made by people who are incarcerated. And many of these jobs they can't get when they get out. So it's time for us to put a stop to it. It's time for us to go say yes on Prop 6, stop modern day slavery and involuntary servitude, and change it once for all. And it's gonna take all of us voting, right? And let's be clear, Sam Brown didn't do this on my own. This brother right here, this is the man behind the machine. He helps a great deal. So I wanna give Brother Chris a hand. Yeah. Real humble. This is the General Chris, I like to call him. So while I may have wrote the legislation while I was incarcerated, you know what I mean, it takes a group effort, and it's gonna take all of us to get it done. This is not a black issue, this is not a white issue, this is a humanitarian issue. This is the issue, opportunity for all of us to evolve in our shared humanity as a collective, and we gotta get it done. So can y'all say yes on Prop 6? Yes on Prop 6. No. Can y'all say yes on Prop 6? There you go. Peace and blessings. Hold on, Sam. Don't go nowhere yet, Sam. Don't go nowhere yet. I want to take a couple questions for Sam. I know my brother Bill, you got a question. I'll take one more, and I've got Dr. Truth here as well. 1, 2. Yes, sir.
So do you know whether or not those corporations who benefit off of prison labor, are they the ones like pushing against Prop 6?
So as of right now, thank you very much for your question, brother. So if y'all look inside y'all voters' manuals and everything, they say that there's no stated opposition against Prop 6. Please do not get rocked to sleep. Do not fall for that. That's a great question. It's said that there's no opposition to Prop 6, but we know that's not true. The same people that are pushing Prop 36 don't want to see a Prop 6, because Prop 6 undermines the prison industrial complex. So while I can't directly say that anybody has come out saying that they support slavery, we know that it's not done until it's done. I done seen it too many times while I was incarcerated. Even with the 3 strikes law, when it was time to be revised, we were sitting in the pen thinking, what was it, Prop 36 back in the day? It was 33, 36. All of us fell asleep in the prison state like, yeah, it's finna get overturned, We woke up, it was dead. It was dead. They started running these pictures and these videos on the last day talking about how they was gonna let out a bunch of killers and murderers and rapists, and it was about making life easy for people who were incarcerated, and they killed it. So there's no stated opposition, but we don't believe that these people really want to see it pass, and we need to make sure we stay vigilant. Stay vigilant, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your folks, vote yes on Prop 6.
Awesome. Yes, Mr. Brown, first and foremost, I want to say we're honored to have you here, because you are the prime example of what we're trying to teach our black youth, that they can get out of anything and get involved in legislation. Get involved in writing bills. Policy is not a foreign entity. It determines how we live. And I would say, as a mother who has a son incarcerated, he's 21, and they're trying to give him life in prison just for possessing a gun. So I want to say again, thank you for Prop 6. There's a lot of people that say, well, no, vote no on it. And I said, that's insanity. And for you to be here today, if you can please explain to the public, especially to our youth, what was the process
of you even getting Prop 6 to even be a bill? Like, what was that process so people, our brothers, our youth who are in jail right now can aspire to do the very same thing?
Great question. And in regards to your son, I want you to stay encouraged, no matter what they say. So I created the 10P program on the level 4 maximum security 180 yard. There was a lot of homicides, a lot of suicides, a lot of overdoses, people with life without the possibility of parole, 3, 4, 5, 6 life sentences told they would never be home. A lot of them are home today. So I just want you to stay fired up, stay encouraged, and don't believe what they say. Because I had life, and I'm standing right before y'all right now. I ain't never told on nobody, never cracked, caved, fold, told up on the soul, gave up information to roll, none of that. You feel me? And I'm right here, right now. So what I would say to the youth inside the prison system and anybody else, it started with me knowing that this had to be done. It had to be done. So I was like, at the time, Jamelia was my partner, and she said to me, because I was like, basically, I don't want to go clean COVID anymore. And they told me I had to do it. And she said, well, can't you appeal it or something? I said, well, I can appeal it because the Constitution supports what they're doing. Article 1, Section 6 of the California Constitution reads, involuntary servitude and slavery are prohibited except as punishment for a crime. So no matter how many appeals I wrote, it was going to be moot. So she said, well, can't you change the Constitution? I said, well, give me the paperwork. And she sent me the paperwork, and I researched family law, labor law, constitutional law, the California Code of Regulations, and within a week I wrote it. And I sent it out. And she did the footwork and took it to Assemblymember Sidney Kamlager. Assemblymember Sidney Kamlager picked it up, then became Congresswoman Kamlager. We pushed it as ACA 3. We created a whole coalition. The very first press conference we did, I was on the cell phone. I was on a wall phone. They were holding the cell phone to the microphone, and they were all standing on the stairs, and I did the press conference right there from prison, right? And so when it didn't make it through the first time, we came back around, and we pushed it again. We revised the language. It took a lot of discussions and you know, talks, and Chris was at the center of it. He knows about it. So it takes a whole coalition. It takes getting with people who know processes better than me. Because I knew my part, I knew the prison system, I knew being incarcerated, I knew what I was being forced to do. So I wrote about what I knew, then I trusted other people to do their part. And it's important that we find people that we can be in coalitions with and work with that will do their part. Thank you, brother. All right, I know we got more questions, but I do, brother. Thank you, brother. First of all, brother, thank you. All right, bro. So, fam, we got two more, okay? Two more, okay? Two more, yes. That better not be my team back there, moaning and gloom. Two more, okay? Two more candidates, all right? And then we're gonna let you go, okay? So, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Please put your hands together one more time for Sam Brown, please. Thank you. Family right there. Yo, so I'll be at one of the prisons on Thursday, participating in the reentry resource fair. Some of the most important, some of the best work I've ever done in my life, and I'm really thankful and humble to even be able to do it. And it's largely because of brothers like Sam. Brothers like that are important, and we got a lot of brothers and sisters like that. Just real talk. Some people do know, but for those of you who don't know, in addition to doing the reparations work, I'm also policy manager at the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, ARC, which has an office here in LA. I work in the Sacramento office though, so most of my work is up at the Capitol, supporting folks like Sam. So, all right, where's my, of course, thank you, sis, for real. Sis, can you give me the schedule for the candidates? Yep, yes, come on. Hold on. We got one more. We got two more. Kahllid Al-Alim. Kahllid Al-Alim. You say it right, brother. You say it. Thank you.
Al-Alim.
There you go.
Kahllid Al-Alim.
So, brother, please tell the people what you're running for, why they should support you, and then we'll get to some questions.
I'll be brief. Thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate the invite. So thank you to all the staff to put this together. It is phenomenal. It's one of the best town halls that I have ever been to since I became a candidate. So I'll give yourself a hand. So I was born and raised in Hyde Park, you know, the diamond in the rough right here in the Crenshaw district. I was LAUSD product. I graduated from Cleveland High. As soon as I graduated from Cleveland High, 2 weeks later, I was in Fort Dix, New Jersey. So I was off into the military. I became an Army medic, spent 11 honorable years as an Army medic. Come back home periodically. And I'm losing a homie here, and lost a young lady there, and lost another homie here through gang violence and drugs. And I'm like, when I finally came home, what's my place? What is my role to my community? Because I always felt love for my neighborhood. And so I got involved with an organization called CEJ, Coalition for Educational Justice, which eventually morphed into Students Deserve, which is now an all-student-led organization that has been phenomenal in making transformation in LAUSD. I was also at one point in time education, youth rep, Hyde Park rep, vice president, and president of the Park Mesa Heights Community Council. So I'm rooted, dedicated to the neighborhood and to everything that's going on in the Park Mesa Heights community. Been there, done that, love it. So I decided after someone, some great friends of mine asked me, well, why don't you run for school board? I said, okay, well, I've been doing this for a number of years. I've been working with activists and working with the students, and so I gave it a shot. And so out of 13 candidates, it became 5 or 7, and then now here it is 2. Myself and Shirlette, and I want to tell you, not throwing shade, not throwing glitter, but this has been one of the most best journey that I have ever been on in my life. I've just been a parent activist. That's it. I've been on all my kids' school boards, school site councils, and I just know that our children are being drastically cheated on so many levels, to the point where it is criminal, but we're not prosecuting it. So that's my job now. I'm here to ask for your vote, your support, to put me on that school board to represent one of the largest black and brown districts in LAUSD. Now let me tell you one more thing. You're looking at one of the engineers of the Black Student Achievement Plan. I sat in many rooms with folks like you, social justice warriors, concerned parents, and community-based organizations in Milwaukee, in Oakland, in San Diego, and right here. So it's not like you have to be a teacher and administrator to become a school board member. You just have to be down for your community. You have to understand the issues, and you gotta want to take the heat for what's coming your way. Now, I consider myself a pro-black liberation organizing activist. I love my people, I love my neighborhood, and I will go to bat, high, hell, or water to fight for these kids. I call them my nieces and nephews. I've been doing this work for over 20 years. Never got paid. Never got paid. It's just out of the love and the concern of what I've been through. I've had my behind kicked by LAPD. After organizing my first Juneteenth event in Hyde Park back in 2004. So I've been involved in various aspects of public education to know that it is time for a change. No more status quo, no more going with the flow. Our children are being hurt, they're being burnt on a number of levels. Now, I am running as an unsupported candidate. At one point in time, I had the endorsement of United Teachers Los Angeles and many other endorsements. But something happened. Because I stood for what I believed in and what I think these children should be involved in and should know on a number of levels. I see another fellow community activist, that's no joke in here. Love you, Miss Ann. There you go. Project 43 in the house. Let me tell you that my social media accounts were, let's say, interrogated to find out what type of candidate I was. So long story short, I liked a book. I liked a book and shared it. This book is called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. And it was all about the transatlantic slave trade. And because influence in a certain community didn't appreciate that book, and the majority of that influence was in United Teachers Los Angeles, they dropped my candidacy. We didn't have a conversation. Wasn't about, you know what, we don't appreciate that. If you just rescind it, if you just talk about why you liked it and maybe we could talk. No. You had an emergency meeting, kick me to the curb just like that. So for some reason, they think that that's going to diminish my shine. 20 years of work in helping to create the Black Student Achievement Plan. 20 years of work of working in the community to help the Park Mesa Heights community rise above the gentrification or try and push back against the gentrification, and involving our schools, embracing our schools and calling them community schools, and embracing those community-based organizations that are doing the phenomenal work to help increase student academic achievement. That is my goal, that is my plan. I have nothing else that I could even offer these folks who don't appreciate that work. I'm not talking to them because I really don't give a damn about them. All I care about is our kids, and I'm tired of superintendents coming through, spending money that they don't earn. They do not appreciate our students or our teachers. And so I am here to ask that you please continue to support me in our journey to make sure that our children, all children, not just children of a certain ethnic group, all our children, but specifically our Black children, get the support and resources necessary to succeed in this world right now. And they can do it. They are phenomenal. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration. I appreciate your vote.
Hold on, brother. Don't go away, brother. Hold on. We're gonna get everybody got to get the love. I'm gonna take 2 questions for the brother Kahllid. Got one here, and then if there's all right. Yes, sir. What's the question, brother?
Brother Vic, another one, huh?
Yeah,
Let's see.
I want to congratulate Kahllid on his statement. I've known him for many years. He's a great advocate for the Crenshaw community. So what he said is absolute truth. I've known him for so many battles over the years. And I think what he said it has not gotten enough attention tonight. It's like a war on Crenshaw, what they did to Kahllid this year. I got it through my friend, a mutual friend of ours. He's in UTLA. And I told him to take a stand for Kahllid at the emergency meeting. And so what he said really hit me because I've been attacked myself on association of gangs, particularly like one gang in particular, the 60s Crips in Crenshaw. There's like a whole war against me for the last 2 years. And Kahllid had supported me, so that's why I went all out for him. So listen to what he said. People in this room need to support Kahllid and end this war on Crenshaw, which is Kahllid.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Question for Kahllid before we let him go. Okay. Brother, thank you very much.
Thank you so
much. I got one question for you, brother.
Oh, no, I really appreciate that.
Will you sign the pledge, brother?
Look, I was waiting for that question.
Will you sign
I wanted to answer
the
that
reparations
first.
pledge, brother?
Not only will I sign this, it's not a pledge, it's not a promise, it is a guarantee that I will embed in the pedagogy, the curriculum, the financial literacy, and the generational wealth building that is necessary to sustain this. So yes, I'm going to sign this, and when I become a school board member for District 1, I will make sure that our students learn this generation after generation after generation.
Come on, here we go, brother. Thank you very much, brother.
Power to the
Thank
people.
you. If might be a pen, please. Anybody got a pen up here? Oh, we got a pen for you right here, brother. Come on up here. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, then we got one more candidate coming up, and then everybody going back to your families. Thank you very much, family. Appreciate that. Okay. We got one more. So I'd like to ask, bye-bye, family. Take care. So Fatima, please come on up. Tell the family what you're running for, when you're running for it, because I know we're a little bit early, and why they should support you. Let me let the brother finish real quick. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Put your hands together for Kahllid one more time. And for Fatima here, Fatima.
My name is Fatima, so thanks for having me here. I really appreciate all of you. This is my son Aiden, who has a superpower. I call it? Don't mention. Okay, all right. But he goes to school in college. All right. but I'm a huge advocate for children. I'm also a former teacher in Jordan High School. I now have a student nonprofit where we work with Black and brown students to get them access to careers, right? Because we can't say that every Black student is going to be in sports. You have to give them choices. So in my day job, right now I'm chair. I'm chair of the Progressive Caucus, and but what I do for work is I work for California Environmental Voters. So I'm an advocate for voting rights, democracy, climate justice bills. I've also worked with Chris though on the California Democratic Party reparations resolution. Me and Kendra co-wrote that resolution, so I'm in complete support of direct cash payments. And yeah, I'm running. Oh, I didn't even see what I'm running for. I'm a bad politician. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this. Okay, so what I am running for is there's an open assembly seat in the 65th Assembly District in 2026. I just decided about a month ago I'm running for that seat. I have run before for the seat, so many of you may know, but it was when the incumbent was in there, and I really ran. We heard a lot today about politicians that take money from the corporations that hurt our communities, from police unions and all of that. And the district that I would be running in is basically Watts all the way down to Wilmington, a little bit of San Pedro, North Long Beach. It's a community that's been really left behind because we've had politicians that have been in the pockets of big interests. And so I'm running, not indebted to any of that, and want to really be for for the community. So happy to take questions, but this is 2026. I'm on the ballot now, a little while from now.
Thank you, Pat. So we are breaking a candidate right now. All right, so we got a 2026 candidate. Okay. I use sports analogies a lot in the political trainings that we do. So if you think about football, basketball, there's a regular season and there's an off season. In the political world, at least in Sacramento, at the state level, the regular season is from January-ish to let's say September, end of September. Then the off season is from let's say October to December. And then we have we have primaries, and then we have generals. You can think of those as playoffs and the finals, right? And so Fatima's running for the primaries in 2026. Okay, so she's on the ballot in June of 2026. But I know we're early, but I wanted to open up. Are there any questions for Fatima early? Okay. All right. Okay. Just checking. Okay.
Yes. So it's Assembly District 65. Yes.
Who represents that area right now?
Oh, right now it's Mike Gibson represents that area right now. Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna be challenging Mike Gibson in 2026.
And there's a reason I did that before, because if you look at a lot of his record, on transformative justice, intersectional justice, on not just climate policy, but standing up for renters, being for actual institutional reform. I don't believe things like there's just bad apples in the policing system. I believe we have to fundamentally change it to systems of care, and we have to reduce policing and really budget for investments in communities. So I'm fundamentally believing in the substantial changes that we need, and that's why I challenged him. That's the reason I did, and that's why I'm running in 2026 to really stand for institutional change.
And that's CLBC member Mike Gibson, right? Is that so you're challenging California Legislative Black Caucus member Mike Gibson? Okay. Just so folks that know.
No, well, not in 2026.
No.
It's an open seat in 2026.
Oh, all right. So it's a problem. It's open until Gibson has it now.
He's termed out.
Okay,
Exactly.
Gotcha. So Gibson's terming out in 2026, and one of the people who wants to replace and get that seat is Fatima. And Fatima, I know you didn't plan on this, but I have one last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Will you support and sign the reparations pledge?
Of course.
All right, There we go. Please, somebody give me a fresh pledge, please. All right, there we go. We got a pen up here. Family, okay, this is our final candidate, Fatima, right there. Family, I want to thank you. I want to get you back to your families and to your lives. Thank you. All right. Put your hands together for yourselves, please, if you don't mind. One last time. Thank you. To come, we drove 7 hours to come down here, and it is It's worth every single minute of it. Real talk. Thank you. We'll see y'all again soon. CJEC-officials.org on the website. What's up, family? What's up? Okay, hold on. Bye-bye. We got another potential candidate, okay.
As someone who will be running in 2026 as well for State Assembly in District 69, Long Beach, Carson, and Signal Hill, I would also like to sign the pledge.
People trying to sign the pledge. All right, come on, let's go. Got a fresh pledge. Family, good night, family, okay? Good night. Thank you so much. Please help us clean for the family who's staying and the staff. Please help us clean. Thank you, family. What district you run for?